as with any design, it's a good idea to have a look to see what's on the market at the moment. And we've got here a little look through in real photographs from botanical gardens and online examples of current nesting boxes. You see, it's quite a wide variety. Some are actually feeding boxes, some are nesting boxes. So we're going to take this fairly tight little design, and the idea we're going to work with a house-based, a pitched roofed type design. I'm looking at ways of reducing possible amount of materials of the construction to make it reasonably environmentally friendly and to give it a unique design, certainly something we've not seen so far. We're going to stick with the idea of a basic house shape. You can see this being built up with the sketching techniques, the outlining techniques, and a little bit of rendering later on. We've got some 2D and 3D sketching just to build up this concept, this idea of the house, something we've probably sketched before. Hole, the size and position of which we'll look at a bit more detail later on. And this is it shown with the roof removed to show the basic construction. What we have here, in essence, and we will speed this up quite a bit throughout the video, so don't worry, it won't last the full nearly 1¼ hours, 3/4 hours it took to produce this work. So we have a front and back which are very similar. We have sides which will be this almost identical, and a base. We'd also have material for a roof of some sort and a base that would fit underneath. The roof itself at 90 degrees is the simplest construction, and something we'll probably try and stick with to keep the construction as simple as possible. We can look now at proportion. So we're looking at this same idea with a tall, wide, narrow, a variety of different rectangular proportions and possible different bases from the sloping or chamfered or curved bases. We can certainly have things that look tall in terms of house shapes, the position and size of the hole. Again, more detail to be added, but just to give the indication there'd be a hole somewhere on them. So we've got this idea of two sloping sides for the roof, for sure. But in design number 3, what we have there is an example of a curve. So we've got fewer pieces. The sloping bases would take any debris away from the nest. We maybe take parasites or we'll just call it bird poo possibility, other materials away from the nest itself. So having a non-flat bottom is something, but definitely having a look at experts on this, and for sure the RSPB, the Royal Society for Protection of Birds, would be one such place. We're going to look at now a way of generating ideas very quickly. We're going to look at possibly 5 different combinations for something simple as one of those types of house shapes on the left hand side. The first being a method of constructing that right angled roof structure. The second being the end shape of the roof, from right angled, 45 degree, rounded, chamfered, combinations of the two. Even something with a little groove in here that would stop water tracking back as it ran off the roof. It's called an anti-capillary groove. Little bit of science there, boys and girls. So the first one at the moment was really the pitch and how we join that from either a butt joint or a mitre or a rebate housing, or just bending a material to get that right angled bend. Second being ways of finishing the end, and that makes a big visual difference to the structure itself. Then of course we can think of well, the material we're going to use for the roof. In terms, just at the moment, not of the physical material, but the thickness. We've got some thicker, thinner sheet material. And this example we put together very quickly takes the top idea of a mitre, the second row taking this 45 degree cut at the bottom, and using this same thickness as the box, so taking points 1, 2 and 3 would give us a possibility of a roof structure, something like that, using the choices made above for this potential roof structure. I think by making those 3 choices, you might have sussed that we could actually take different combinations of those things. So we could have taken, for example, the rebate joint on the top and the rounded roof and the thicker material. The combination of those 3 would give a completely different roof, or visually looking roof structure. So this idea of mixing things from choices gives us a way of generating a whole range of possibilities. Remember that 90 degree is the easiest corner to make. Other angles can be done, but would involve maybe possible jigs or slightly different constructions. So we're keeping it as simple as we can, and as a sort of unalterable fact for this one, 90 degree sloping roof. Whether it's pitched in the centre or off to one side, we'll maybe look at that later on. So we're going to look at now some of the primary focus of this thing. Just really, we've said it's going to be a bird box. Now, a bird box, maybe better term would be a nest box, but for nesting, a bird box. But the structure itself might have some other spin-offs. It could be, as we saw in some of those early photographs, a bird feeder, an insect shelter, or even for feeding squirrels. So down the bottom here, we're taking the concept of the rounded base, and we're playing about with the proportion of that. Look at the ratio of 2 squares high, 1 by 1.5 squares, and one is square, 1 by 1. And by playing about with the different roof thicknesses on top of that, and the curving idea, we get the potential here of having a front and a back which are very similar, but one piece rather than 3 pieces for the body, having an arch, an inverted arch, held in place, held in with a possible little piece at the back that it connects up with. So checking whether gluing or screwing would be the most appropriate way of constructing this. The page itself has grown organically. There's a lot of information here, maybe a bit of space to put something about the hole sizes. Those hole sizes will be dependent upon the type of bird that's going to use it, and we have to do some research to find out what the appropriate sizes would be. So again, if we take this idea of a mix, maybe just jot some numbers, Dave. For rows 1, 2, 3, the holes would be 4, and the proportion would be 5. That any combination of something from line 1, something from line 2, line 3, line 4, and line 5 would give us a completely different design. We've also got to think about materials and construction. But as far as materials are concerned at the moment, I'm just putting colour in to identify the depth on this two-dimensional drawing. So little shadows going in to show overhangs or holes, and to build up a visual link. For example, the yellow and blue things on the left-hand side, showing that we're really just playing about with proportion. The roof's all the same colour, just to show that it's the thickness we're changing or the angle we're changing. It's the same material, same thing. And if we move on to taking this idea of a 1 by 1.5 tall box, at the moment it's an arbitrary decision that it can be changed, and look at the idea of maybe somehow holding the curved piece, the arch piece, in place. So a little sketch here showing the roof to stop it from wobbling about, and we don't want a roof that's stuck down. We want to be able to get access at specific times, not all the time, to take the roof off. Maybe a little block underneath to locate that in place, and something similar on the back of these arch-shaped fronts, maybe an arch within an arch, whether that's made by gluing 2 pieces together or machining a groove around the edge to take or to accommodate that bent piece of material, whether it's plywood or rubber or some other bent material that's fitting in there. The idea that the nest would sit on top, the chicks sitting inside there, the possibility of a hole at the bottom to allow maybe moisture out, whether it's plugged or not, I'm not entirely sure about that at the moment. We put a plug in the hole, and it's a little chance to try perspective sketching of an object above us. The bird box in this case would be above the viewer, so we're looking at the idea of vanishing points as before, but the leading edge being above eye level, everything heading down towards the vanishing points. So we've got to look at details of the specification to confirm. So we've got to look at materials, we've got to look at the depth of the material, we've got to look at the joining methods involved. So we've got some research to do on all of that, and that might appear fairly quickly. The environment's got to have as little impact as possible on the environment and be safe for the birds to live in. This is a little bit of research done online. You can see I've still got the recording going past. It's 2 or 3 pages looking at websites with information specific to materials and to hole sizes and the types of birds that might live in there. The result of all that, you can see the page is filled up quite a bit more. As I was saying, that the hole, for example, should be a minimum of 125 down to the base of the object. We've got information on brackets for holding it in the wall, sizes of the holes for birds, possible widths of material to fit this thing together. So a lot of information has gone on this page, and we're just visually linking these things together with a wee touch of colour. So we thought about predators, we talked about bird sizes, about cleaning, we looked at joining methods, we looked at suitable materials and finishes within this part. So all the research that was done earlier on in that written work has been transferred now into the folio. For example, a grill at the bottom to keep the nest off the bottom, and there's a basic concept which is still to be taken further. We're now going to look at this idea of having a little bit of fun, the potential for having a little bit of fun using this house idea that should help sell the product but not distract from the bird-centered focus of the function. So this little bit of fun page is building up ideas of houses with roofs and the bird idea. We've got buildings behind, we've got rockets coming at the bottom, wings, bird wings, bat wings, plane wings, feet, triangular looking things, clouds, rainbows, anything associated with or come to mind with this idea of house as we're sketching down. This is speeded up quite a lot, and the idea at the moment is just to generate as many possibilities. Whether these are taken forward or not, they're just simply giving potential for a little bit of fun within this function of a bird box. These may be ignored, but at the moment we're just looking at some possibilities. Slow the video down, have a look at it with slower speed, but in recap, we've got one page looking at the concept of the bird idea. The second one, which is incomplete at the moment, is the looking at the detail, how it might go together, and 3, adding a little bit of function. So the function, still hold the bird, you decide which type of bird, where it's going to be used, and looking back over the design, you can pick any of those earlier 5 or 6 different combinations from that morphological analysis and take this design in your own direction.